Morning Football Weekend presented by Bass Pro Shops, and we have this developing story that broke as soon as we came on the air this morning for the show. It is hour 2 of Good Morning Football. Antonio Brown posting at 9:01 Eastern, 6:01 Pacific, that he wants to be released by the Raiders, posting that on Instagram. Now, here's the statement right there. Hashtag no more fake. I don't know. There's a lot of hashtags there. There's a lot of layers to this. We talked to Ian Rappaport a little while ago. He said that the Raiders believe that they can void the $30 million in guarantees that he has because of the fines that were accrued for the verbal altercation with Mike Mayock. Those fines amounting to about $215,000. Then also, if the team... I'm
sorry.
I know. I'm just trying to... Off the top of my head. Hold on.
It's slowly coming together for me what the Raiders are trying to do here. Wait.
I have one more thing before you go. If he is released, obviously he won't be eligible for termination pay either. So.
That's what I'm getting to the bottom of. And I know it's a very highly technical thing, but it's very important because it's worth $15 million. So termination pay, if you are a vested veteran, means you've been in the league for more than 4 years. Antonio Brown, check. If you're on a roster week 1, your entire base salary for that entire year, whatever it is, becomes fully guaranteed. Now, the Raiders, according to Tom Pelissero, put it in a letter to Antonio Brown saying, because of your actions, you have not only voided your guarantees, but you have waived your right to termination pay. And I'm sitting here saying, how is that possible? I'm texting salary cap guys for teams, and they're like, well, that doesn't make much sense to me. And now they're going back, and they're going back, and they're going back. I've got it, finally.
Okay.
Now listen, let me read it first.
Okay.
So this is... Get out. This is appendix in the CBA. This is a written warning, good faith effort. Basically says the club provides you with written notice that you're failing to exhibit the level of good faith effort which can be reasonably expected from players on the club. D'Angelo reaction shot. If you do not demonstrate this good faith effort, basically, if you're not being a teammate, if you're not rowing in the same direction,
but check this out,
you will not be entitled to termination.
But
that's all subjective.
And Jeezy, should they have given him some warning through the process? And knowing AB, he would have tweeted it.
I don't have all
warning. You're on a team. It's common sense.
But exactly, but
it's common sense. You can't just walk out of training camp practice.
What's interesting about all of this too is when you think back to when John Gruden was in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers in 2003, he had to deal with Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, that's true.
And he had to be deactivated for the last 6 games of that season because he put himself in a situation where he wasn't getting along with the former staff, and then he missed some activities with the team, and they decided to kind of just deactivate him there. So this is not the first time that he's dealt with this, but this is nowhere near the same situation because of how much it's just been blown out of proportion.
But you know what John's learned from this? That I'm not going to be the guy delivering the messages. Mike Mayock, you be the guy.
And again, so if you're Mike Mayock,
be on the same page.
I know.
You got to be on the same page. Bro, why be there as the general manager if you're not going to be respected as the general manager?
All right, before I bring in Tom Pelissero here, I do want to note all those things that I said about if you're good, because there's a lot of gray area, good faith, and you got to be in a... All this would be subject to a grievance, and there would be an arbitrator who would decide, yes, the Raiders gave him warning, yes, he violated. So this is like a legal battle within the CBA, potentially outside the CBA.
Common sense.
We're going to have to live through that now.
And now we bring in Tom Pelissero, Esquire, to talk us through this and what the heck is happening with this situation. I guess financially first, Tom.
Oh, Mike, let's start with what triggered Antonio Brown's request for his release via Instagram, because where else would a player make a request for his release in 2019? He received 2 letters from the Raiders over the past day here. The first one fines him $215,073 for conduct detrimental to the team. That is stemming from the incident on Wednesday involving Raiders general manager Mike Mayock. And the Raiders say that that incident voids the over $29 million in guaranteed money, guaranteed base salary over this season and next that are on Antonio Brown's contract. The second notice that he received from Mike Mayock is the one that Mike Garafolo just pointed out there. It's Appendix I. It's actually a form letter within the CBA that states a player who does not show that good faith effort is not eligible for termination pay. Antonio Brown's entire compensation just about in 2019 is tied to his base salary. He makes about $860,000 in 17 different weekly checks. Well, if he does be on the team by Monday night, if he does play, what the Raiders are saying here is they can cut him at any point, and he would not be entitled to collect the rest of his base salary. That seems to be what has upset Antonio Brown in the latest instance here, is that the Raiders have turned this into a week-by-week contract. Let's also talk about potential salaries.
It's amazing, Tom, that Antonio Brown has not played a game yet with the Raiders, but it feels like he's been on the team for years at this point because of everything that has happened. Tom, thank you for that update there. And you look at all of the ways that, as Tom alluded to, that he has violated the terms of his agreement. It's just like left and right. And at this point, what do you do?
You could, like, the first time he did something per the contract, you can go, well, it says it right here. If you don't show up, that's it. You voided everything. But you're not going to do that, right? It's just like a parent with a child. Got one now, Mike Robbs. I know what this is all about. You let a little bit go, and eventually you got to lay down the law, and you got to say this is unacceptable behavior. So I
feel like
Raiders,
the time has passed, though, for that. Shouldn't they have done that a long time ago?
What I want to know is, did they truly believe, the Raiders that is, did they truly believe that they could do this, to void the guarantees and the money, even say you're not eligible for termination pay, which is $15 million, and think that he was going to say, okay, I'll play and I'll earn it all. Or was this, you know what, we can get out from under this if we just void the guarantees, and then it makes it look like
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, you're telling him to bet on himself, show up, do what you say you're going to do, bro, and you're going to get all the money you want. Right? But also, if you don't, you provide us an opportunity to get from and separate from you without killing us.
And you made that decision.
And you made that decision. Exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's a good compromise.
The Raiders knew what his reaction would be. They knew exactly that he was going to go nuclear.
We thought we knew his reaction to getting $30 million would be, hey, I'm happy, I'm away from Pittsburgh, let's just go ball. But instead, he burned his feet, he left training camp, and he decided to complain about a helmet.
Someone who's been following this the entire time, all of those things, is MJ Acosta, who's on the phone with us right now. And MJ, I think you need a raise from everything that you've covered with Antonio Brown.
Well, you can count on me showing up without question, and I'm actually pulling up
Quarterback that he drafted, and Nick Foles. You got the Giants and the Cowboys, a great NFC East matchup. But no, we're not going to really talk about those right now. We will hopefully get to them in a little bit, because Antonio Brown has done it again. Just moments, it seems like, after he did it to us yesterday. So this story keeps evolving with him and the Raiders. He posted on Instagram that he essentially wants the team to release him. We've been talking about it for this whole hour so far. And if you guys just, remember, think back all the way to last night when he
long time ago,
when he apologized to his team. Let's just take a listen. Little refresher here.
I'm excited to be out here today. I want to apologize to my teammates, the organization. Enough talk, man. I'm excited to be out here with my teammates, and grateful for all the fans. And I'm excited to be a part of the Raiders and see you guys soon.
Okay, so that was about what, Jeezy, 3 o'clock Eastern?
3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific.
3 o'clock Eastern, and then 9 a.m. Eastern this morning, he posts the Release Me on Instagram. It is a story that has people worried about him, not just about his career or his future with the organization there, but also his stability, because it just seems worrisome when you see the behavior that he has been putting out there for all of us to see. And it wasn't just because the Raiders were on Hard Knocks for all of us. And yes, that does expose teams to a lot of different things. But this is something that Antonio Brown has done himself. He has put all of this out there. He put the video on YouTube last night of what could be the voice of head coach John Gruden, and in a conversation which sounded private. So you don't know really what is going on behind the scenes there, and behind the scenes, like behind his scenes, behind the eyes in Antonio Brown, because it is something that just continues to change, you guys.
And maybe that's my problem. I'm sitting up here trying to rationalize, and the behavior right now is irrational. I don't know why. I'm not speculating why. I don't want to go there, but something's not right when this team has done a lot to stand by him. But look, they're setting themselves up for a move to Vegas, for a new regime with Mike Mayock, who is stepping out of the booth and has to show these guys that I can be a general manager, Okay, we look past that part of that title and what's supposed to come. It's not just about spotting the best players out there. It's not fantasy football for real. It's about managing the building and working with your head coach, and you need the credibility as a GM to be able to stand up and say,